Hello and welcome to the Whisky.com news on the 21st of April 2020. And interestingly enough, we have a number of very interesting whiskey news, and actually none of them have to do with the virus. Here in Germany, we're actually over the peak and it's going downwards. So we are very hopeful that the end for the virus is nigh and not our end. Yeah. So first news, the Glenlivet Spectra. This is a new Glenlivet mystery malt. We had the Alpha, the Cipher, the Code, the Enigma, and now it's called the Spectra. But the Spectra is not one whiskey, but it's actually 3 whiskies, and you're getting description with it, and probably the Spectra is a combination of these 3 too, and you're getting a code or something mystery like, and you can find a whiskey within the mixture of these 3 ingredients or something like that. I'll imagine that. But if you want to know more about that, then find it online. And then we have the news from the Fèis Ile. Yeah, it's a whiskey festival that has been cancelled, but now it has been reopened virtually. So during the 22nd to the 31st of May, there will be an online whiskey festival, and there will be music, there will be distillery tours, and there will be tastings. And every day there will be one distillery at focus, so you can enjoy this festival as you please. Then we have Smokehead TV that is starting on Instagram. Yeah, the distillery, or not the brand Smokehead with the famous whiskey, they're now doing Instagram TV, and they're bringing out one video every Sunday. So you might as well check that out. And by the way, Whisky.com is also on Instagram. And yeah, then we have the Isle of Raasay. They have just kind of finished their first whiskey. They want to do their first whiskey with a cask finish. So they had 45 casks. They emptied these ex-bourbon casks and put them in wine casks for finish, and they will release that soon. And what you can now do is you can get these casks refilled for yourself, so whiskey fans can purchase one of these casks from the Isle of Raasay Distillery. Then we have another distillery that is looking for money, not because they are going bankrupt, but they want to start up. It's the Glen Luss Distillery. I'm not quite sure. We had so many of these distilleries looking for money to open up. They are a distillery. I'm not sure if I had the news already. So next year they want to start on the shores of the famous Loch Lomond. And now if you give them money, you can enter the Founders Club, and they can have special perks like private tours or a distillery master session that will make you a distillery master. And then you have Ireland, the Corry The Lockin crowdsourcing Irish whiskey. So that's a crowdsourcing Irish whiskey brand, and because it's crowdsourced, the guy who did it wants to now get your opinions about what style and what direction this Irish blended whiskey should become, and how the label should look like. So if you are within this crowdsourcing campaign, get in contact with them and find out how you can influence the whiskey that is being created. Then we have news from the United States. The United States has the Buffalo Trace Distillery, and the Buffalo Trace Distillery now does kosher whiskey. Kosher is the term for the Jewish or Yiddish tradition of producing I think not holy or holy, a very definite religious thing for the Jewish community, and really religious Jewish people only allowed to drink or eat kosher food. And they are now releasing 3 kosher certified whiskeys. So a rabbi is looking over that. It will be a kosher rye, a wheat, and a straight rye whiskey. It's going to be limited and only available in the United States. Then we have another news from, this time from Bardstown. And the Bardstown Bourbon wants to release Armagnac finish. So it's a 12-year-old bourbon, which is a pretty old bourbon, very old for a bourbon, and it got an 18-month finish in Armagnac casks. Chardonnay de la Borde. I don't know if I butchered the pronunciation, but sounds really French. So it's gonna be a French wine cask finish for a 12-year-old American bourbon. That sounds pretty amazing. And news from the international markets, from Japan. We've talked about the new Kamiki Distillery that founded a distillery with demineralized salt water, and now they're already bringing out something fresh and new, and it's a cherry wood cask finish from their whiskies. They actually didn't do in oak wood, but in cedar wood, and now they finished it in cherry wood oak. So it's gonna be a really exciting tasting whiskey, or strange tasting whiskey. I'd really like to have one of these whiskeys on my cask, but I think they're really high. They're very rare, and maybe we'll get one of these whiskeys. And now, last but not least, the Pope has said something about whiskey. Yes, what did he say about whiskey? Pope Franciscus of the Vatican met some guys who did whiskey tasting with him or something like that, and he was said to have said that whiskey is the true holy water. He said it in Italian, so I can't do the Italian, but I'm not quite sure. We couldn't confirm that. I haven't seen any video. I've just seen articles about that, if that is really true. But it is also rumored already that Pope Franciscus is very fond of Scottish whiskey. So it's probably true. So thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.